Hello and welcome, Pokemon fans. There are those who call me Bard Breaker, and it's time for another Sunday Pokemon Challenge run. Last week's run through Soul Silver with Just an Unknown was quite expectedly hard at times, but it was actually kind of fun nonetheless. It took a while though, so let's go back and do a generation that I think will be a bit quicker, but still kind of fun as well. Today we ask and answer the question, can I beat Pokemon Fire Red with a team of only one Torchic? Torchic is perhaps best known as May's Pokemon and the fire starter from the other three games, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald in Generation 3, but we're moving him over to Kanto today. It has a 310 base stat total, which puts it on par with Pokemon like Abra and Ghastly, so not great, but also not the worst we've ever worked with. Our moveset also isn't the best, but again, it's not the worst either. Scratch and Growl get us started, but we do learn Ember early, and we do end up learning Slash and Flamethrower later. While we are a bird, we're only pure fire type, so we don't get a same type attack bonus for Peck or Aerial Ace, which we can learn among our TM options. We don't get a lot of type coverage here though, so we may have to try Attract or something like Double Team. We have a couple of options for our main obstacles, but we're really going to be at a disadvantage against Rock, Ground, and Water trainers, even with what we have to work with. But as always, at this point I remind you guys that I write the script as I go and I haven't started playing yet. Everyone make your guesses down below to please the almighty algorithm, god of the YouTube algorithms, and let me know if you think we can do this or not. I'm going to say that we can, but again, we're going to have some roadblocks along the way, namely the aforementioned Rock, Ground, and Water trainers. But lastly, before we get started, let's take a final look at our rules. In battle, I can only use Torchic. I'll need other Pokemon for HMs, but I can't use them in battle. I also won't be allowed to use any items in battle. Held items and items outside of battle are going to be allowed, and finally no cheats, glitches, or exploits, so let's begin. To start the run off, I've used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to do a straight replacement for Charmander with Torchic so that we can do the entire run with it. This way our rival still takes Squirtle and will have the hardest Pokemon for us to fight against. I nickname it General So, for the obvious deliciousness. Our nature is naive, so more speed and less special defense. Not great, but not the worst nature we could get. Our ability is Blaze, a very awesome ability that gives fire moves a 50% boost if we're at 1/3 or less of our maximum HP. This could really come in handy in really tight spots. Our opening fight against Tim is nothing special. We just go for Scratch over and over, and while I doubt that would work in real life, it's enough to win the fight for us here in the game, and we're off to a good start. We have to play the obligatory package delivery simulator first before the run can begin, but once we do that, we're ready to proceed on. I spend a bit of time grinding in Viridian Forest. It's not too bad. We can increase our critical hit chance with Focus Energy, and that bypasses the hardens of the Metapods. At level 10, we learn Ember and can easily breeze through the forest with no problem whatsoever. Once we get through the forest, we challenge Brock at level 14. We're using Ember, which even though his Pokemon resist, our same type attack bonus will make it our best option here. I throw a Focus Energy in there to boost our critical hit chance just in case, and then set about trying to set fire to his rocks. Fortunately, Geoju just keeps using Defense Curl, which won't affect our Embers at all, nor a chance of a crit. Onix is faster than us though, and it does know Rock Tomb, but fortunately it doesn't seem to want to use it, and we're able to set down his Onix with surprising ease. That critical hit we got definitely helped, but we could have probably just burnt him down on our own anyway. East of Pewter City, we go ahead and catch a Jigglypuff for Strength later, nicknaming it Bisepticus the 22nd. Long may she lift, as well as a Pidgey for Fly later, nicknaming it Flapsity the 22nd. Long may he fly, and shortly thereafter a Paris in Mount Moon for Flash, nicknaming it Flashelius the 22nd. Long may she shine. After getting through Mount Moon, I stop at these move tutors and I teach General So Mega Punch. I'm not sure how our Torchic can punch anything since it quite literally doesn't have any hands or arms, but we'll go with it. I'll save Mega Kick from the other move tutor for later if we need it. We get to Cerulean City, but to no surprise, our Fire Chicken's not able to defeat Misty and her water Pokemon yet. So we take on our rival north of town instead. We lose to Water Gun on the first attempt, but our second attempt goes much better. 2 Mega Punches bring down the Pidgeotto, and next at us is Squirtle with Water Gun. I Sand Attack him once for safety, and it helps as the first time it goes for Water Gun it misses. After Squirtle, the rest of his team is no challenge. Abra doesn't attack, so we peck it down, and Rattata makes me a bit worried as it lands a critical hit quick attack, but we hang on and bring it down with an Ember. From there, it's an easy jaunt up Nugget Bridge. After clearing out the Nugget Bridge, we bumble our way to Bill's house where he gives us a small loan of an SS ticket and we're ready to run for president. Take a long ride on a big boat. I don't think I'm ready for Misty yet, so I'm going to actually skip her for now and come back to her later. South of Cerulean City, we stop and catch a Meowth for Cut later, nicknaming it Snipticus the 22nd. Long may she cut, as well as 4 more Meowths in the Klepticus Brigade for the ability Pickup. It's an ability that will allow each Meowth a 10% chance to pick up and hold an item after each Pokemon I knock out. It's not extremely useful in Fire Red and Leaf Green since it mostly just has us picking up berries, but there is a 5% chance to find a Nugget, a Power Point Up, or Rare Candy, or the TM for Hidden Power. So for all of you math nuts out there, basically every Pokemon I knock out has a 0.1% chance to pick up a rare candy. We aren't going to find many, but we are going to get some, but I'm actually wanting the TM for hidden power since that could prove useful later. We head for the SSN in Vermilion City and head for rival number 3 immediately. We ember down the Pidgeot and out comes Wartortle. We pocket sand him 3 times for safety from his water gun and it proves useful as we take down the Wartortle with some Mega Punches, and from there the Raticate and Kadabra aren't much threat and we've beaten the rival number 3. Now we get touchy-feely with the Sea Captain, who's surely regretting the Taco Bell he had for lunch earlier, and now we get that HM for cut and we can proceed with the game. Once we beat Misty. We actually need the Cascade badge to use cut outside of battle, so we have to go back to her now. So at this point, with all our extra levels, we can one-shot the Staryu with a Mega Punch, but we can't quite do it on the Starmie just yet. It's faster than me, so we're going to get hit by a Water Pulse regardless. We take nearly 50 damage each time, so we have exactly 1 Water Pulse before we go down. Finally, after about 20 minutes of attempts, we get a run where we can one-shot the Staryu, and then we get a critical hit one-shot on the Starmie to get us past Misty. Now we can finally use cut outside of battle and move forward with the game. Rock Tunnel is uneventful, but somewhat difficult as I actually didn't bring enough potions with us, and Ember isn't really super useful against the rocks either. We get through it without much issue, and we make our way to Celadon City for some immediate progress with the Grass Gym. And so while we're setting fire to all the girls' bushes here, let me touch on a couple of things the Rock Tunnel got me. First, I learned Rock Slide from the Move Tutor. I replaced Slash that I had recently learned, not because it's 5 points stronger, but because it has a 30% chance to cause a flinch, and Rock is a decent type that's going to help us a lot later. Also, one of my Klepticus Brigade Meowths finally picked up the TM for hidden power, and I type tested it in the tunnel and discovered that we actually have an ice hidden power. That's going to be super helpful for later if we have any issues with Lance. Anyway, after we burn the last of Erica's plants to the ground, we secure the Rainbow Badge and can now go clear Team Rocket out of their casino den. And yeah, Giovanni actually poses a bit of a challenge. We could use our ice hidden power now, but I'd rather not play around with our moveset all that much. I think we can save it for later. He takes a few attempts, but we get a good run going where we burn the Onix, which helps take it down that much faster. Rhyhorn's next, and just like the Onix, we keep using Ember over and over until the Rhino wannabe is burnt to the ground. Last out is Kangaskhan, and it's outspeeding us, and it hits hard with Mega Punch, and it flinches us with Bite and Fake Out. We finally get some decent luck as we hit it with a couple of sand attacks for safety, and that's finally what we need so that we can leave this town and go play with some ghosts. We make it back to Lavender Town, and it's time for our regular battle with Tower Tim, and he's not that difficult. We one-shot everything with either Rock Slide, Ember, or Mega Punch. Wartortle takes 2 shots, but we get them in before he withdraws too much and we secure an easy win. By the way, he's not using Withdraw because he wants the defense necessarily, he's doing it because his AI sees that it's a water move and that water moves are super effective against fire types. It's a smart AI in that it knows to use a water move, but it doesn't actually check to see what that water move actually does. With Tim out of the way, it's an easy climb through the tower, and once we rescue Mr. Fuji, the game will open up a bit for us. At this point, I have several places I can go, and it's at this point I realize I actually forgot to do Lieutenant Surge. There's no real reason I have to do him now, but I do like to do the gyms in order specifically for this exact reason, so I don't end up forgetting one. We go back to Vermilion City, and it's an easy one-shot sweep with Flamethrower. Nothing to report. We cycle on down to Fuchsia and decide to take on Koga. His Coughing goes down to a single Flamethrower, but his Muck is a different story and survives Flamethrower and hits hard with Sludge and poisons us, putting us on a ticking clock. It doesn't help that he uses Minimize, which is the same thing as Double Team in this generation, and also gets healed with a Hyper Potion. Fortunately, he goes for Acid Armor, and that turns out to be the difference maker, as with our poison damage, we aren't looking good as we bring it down. Coughing's out again and goes down to another Flamethrower, and last out is his Wheezing, but our poison damage brings us to just 4 HP. We miraculously one-shot the Wheezing without even a critical hit, and boom, there we go. We've beaten Koga, barely, and can keep our chicken running. With all that out of the way, we fly back to Saffron City and decide to pay a visit to the Silphco building. I try to avoid as many people as possible since I'm curious how low a level we can do this, and we make our way to rival Fievel. After losing our first attempt, we come back with a vengeance on the second. Pidgeot survives a super effective Rock Slide before going down to Mega Punch. Blastoise is next, and it's dangerous with its water gun. Fortunately, it seems more intent to use Protect a bunch, and we already have low power points heading in, so we're not looking great, but we get some decent flinch luck from what Rock Slides we have left and can eventually take him down. Growlithe is next, and we hit hard with a Rock Slide, but not enough to bring it down, but fortunately Growlithe kamikazes himself with a takedown and feints to the recoil damage. Execute is next and goes down to a Flamethrower. Alakazam is last, and we outspeed it, either that or Quick Claw activated, and we one-shot him with a Mega Punch. We need to heal before Giovanni though, so once we do that, we're ready to roll. Giovanni is nearly a first attempt victory, but we lose to the Nidoqueen after surviving its Poison Sting, only to get poisoned to the last of our HP. Our next attempt finds us using Flamethrower on everything. We get a lucky critical hit on the Rhyhorn and eventually burn our way through Nidoqueen with much more help this time, and we're able to bring it down. But again, largely thanks to poor move choice as it decided to go for Tail Whip instead of another double kick, which could have potentially taken me out. Needless to say, I get the Master Ball for our troubles and can now go take on Sabrina. But before I do, I stop to get the free Lapras for Surf later, nicknaming it Aquades the 22nd. Long may she swim. Once we get to Sabrina's gym, it's not much of a challenge, though we do have some bad accuracy luck to start us out, and we get hit by a Psybeam and we're confused. After hitting ourselves a bit, we take down the Kadabra, and the Mr. Mime is next. Sabrina heals it since we can't one-shot it, and it uses Calm Mind to make it harder for us to take down, but eventually her Mime goes down, and from there things are pretty easy. Venomoth is an easy one-shot with Flamethrower, and last out is her Alakazam. We don't outspeed this one, but it doesn't use Psychic to end the fight, and instead sets up a Future Sight, and then for some reason tries to do Future Sight again. If it had just gone for Psychic, I don't think we'd have survived. Certainly not 2. Oh well, poor move choice for the win. We're almost there now, folks. Let's go fight fire with fire. And Blaine, somewhat surprisingly, takes a few attempts. Even though we have the type advantage with Rock Slide, we're getting our attack chunked with Intimidate, which is hurting our output. We eventually Rock Slide our way all the way through his team and get to his Arcanine only to get hit with another Intimidate, but thankfully we get a lucky critical hit to take him down, since critical hits ignore stat changes. Well, that was actually annoying for pretty much the first time ever. But hey, we get the TM for Fire Blast now if we want it. I usually prefer the accuracy of Flamethrower more than the damage of Fire Blast, but it's an option moving forward. Back in Viridian City, it's Giovanni time, and he takes a few tries. We're weak to ground moves, so Earthquake is a major problem here, and wouldn't you know, his entire team knows it. Rhyhorn that's out first likes to hit us with Scary Face, which chunks our speed. This time though, it goes for an Earthquake that hits super hard and brings us from full health to red health. Giovanni heals him, but we're able to bring him down with 2 more Flamethrowers. From there, we're able to Charbroil the rest of his team with 1-shots of Flamethrower the rest of the way, including his second Rhyhorn. Very fortunate, as we certainly wouldn't have survived a hit from any of them. With that out of the way, we heal up and face our rival one last time before the Elite Four. And okay, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Man, that Blastoise just doesn't take any damage, does it? And he hits super hard, even if he is just using Water Gun. Well, we're stuck for now. Blastoise is a defensive tank, nearly equally in both physical and special defense. Add to that, Torchic doesn't get any grass or electric moves in any generation, and we already know our hidden power type is Ice, which it will resist. So at this point, we're stuck either over-leveling, which will likely tick someone off in the comments, or using a cheese move like Double Team, which will tick somebody else off in the comments. Sometimes when you get stuck in a run like this, the solution to get out of it really isn't going to please everyone. But we don't have a lot of options here. I decided to give a couple of attempts to just using Sunny Day to see if we can do anything with that. Unfortunately, the Blastoise is smarter than the average turtle and uses Rain Dance to not only cancel out my Sunny Day, but also boost its own water moves in the process. And because we're only a handful of levels higher now, we're gonna have to just go grind and level up some more until we can at least consistently be faster than the Blastoise. After grinding for a while, at level 60 we try again. I've also collected 30 Pokemon so that I can get the item finder to get the leftovers. A held item that will heal 1/16 of my HP every turn. Our HP is not great, so we don't get a lot back, but it helps. At level 60, we find out we're faster than the Blastoise now, but we still can't get past it. Even trying cheesy stuff like Sand Attack, we're just not able to do it. He is just too tanky and we just aren't doing enough damage. Time to level again. So I seek out nearly every last trainer I skipped over, and we return to the rival at level 65. Pidgeot goes down to a Flamethrower thanks to a crit. Rhyhorn is next, and we miss our damage range and leave it with a nugget of health, but it misses takedown, allowing us to hit next and finish it off. Blastoise is out next, and we Sand Attack it once for safety, then just start hitting it with Rock Slides. Due to a combination of him missing moves and us getting flinches with Rock Slide, we finally take him down. Rain Dance is in effect though, so our Flamethrower is weaker, but out next is Growlithe, and we take him down in a Rock Slide despite the Intimidate drop. Execute is next, and 1 Flamethrower is all we need to take it down. Last out is his Alakazam, and I go for a Mega Punch, and we're able to bring him down in 2 hits and finally get past him. This was easily our most difficult battle yet. It's taken me over an hour of real time, which equates to around 4 hours of sped up game time to do this part. With this in mind, Lorelei is either going to be really easy with our Rock Slide or terribly hard thanks to her being water. Plus, we're going to have to face this Blastoise again too at the end. We're definitely not out of the woods yet. Lorelei starts out easy enough with her Dugong just setting up Safeguard. Nothing too bad. Cloyster tries to stall things out a bit with Protect, but ultimately goes down as well. Lapras is a lucky 2-shot thanks to a crit with Flamethrower, and then out comes Slowbro. We hit an amazingly weak Rock Slide and we don't get a flinch. We then get hit with Surf, which takes us all the way from full health down to 3 health. And then the icing on the cake is that we hit ourselves in Confusion from Lapras' Confuse Ray to end the fight. Alright, that may even be a damage range. We may be in serious trouble here. So after nearly an hour of attempts at level 69, we just aren't getting it. I do have a strategy, and I can do this at this level without Double Team, but the stars have to align ever so rightly. Unfortunately, every time we do get to the Slowbro and need it to miss, it doesn't, thereby ruining our plans. One sand attack just isn't enough to get him to miss when we need it. I tried for nearly an hour, give or take 4 in-game hours with speed up, and it's just not happening. I leave the Elite Four and go back into Kanto to scour up some elixirs and ethers, as well as the last of the rare candy I missed. I use all 11 and try again at level 80. We still can't one-shot the damn Dugong, but we do get Lorelei to burn a full restore this time before we bring it down. Cloyster is still a one-shot as it has been all along. Lapras is out, and here's where we set up the Sunny Day. We get confused, but we can tank her surfs thanks to Sunny Day as she knocks us into single-digit HP, which activates our Blaze ability. Slowbro is next, and we thankfully land a Fire Blast that, even though it's resisted, the extra damage from Blaze and the extra levels is finally enough to one-shot the damn thing and outlast his Jinx. Normally, she wouldn't be a threat as long as we don't hit ourselves and Fire Blast doesn't miss. We snap out of confusion, but we miss Fire Blast. Like you've probably heard before, if it's not 100% accurate, it might as well be 10% accurate. And then Jinx puts us to sleep with Lovely Kiss. We miraculously survive an Ice Punch while asleep and then immediately wake up next turn to hit Fire Blast and can finally put Lorelei behind us. Wow, that was rough. On to Bruno. Onyx is out first, and we set up a Sunny Day as it hits a passable Earthquake. We then go on the offensive with a Fire Blast and one-shot sweep the rest of his team without incident. That actually involved us hitting 5 Fire Blasts in a row, which at 85% accuracy means we only had a 44.3% chance of that happening. I'll take it though, after the brutal slog through Lorelei, we needed an easy one. On to the old Ghost Lady. Agatha poses a bit of a challenge in a lot of runs if you can't one-shot her team because they all love to either poison, confuse, or put you to sleep. And in some cases, a combination of 2 of those at once. Case in point, we miss a damage range on the Golbat and it survives on a sliver to confuse us. It would seem the game also maxes out the confusion turn counter here as we're confused for a long time. This allows her Gengar to put us to sleep. Fortunately, our leftovers are keeping us in the fight, but it's not looking good. Last out is her Haunter, but we're in the red. We snap out of confusion and Fire Blast hits, and we secure the win. That was nice. Now we heal up, Ether up again, and head on to Lance. Lance is rough, and it takes numerous attempts. After many failed attempts, I actually formulate a strategy. Gyarados is first, and here we set up a Sunny Day. It doesn't really matter at this point what it hits us with, we take it down with a Fire Blast and a Rock Slide. As long as we're around 130 HP for the Aerodactyl, we'll survive its ancient power at around 50. And that will put us in a low enough range to trigger Blaze, which boosts our Fire Blast by 50%. Combined with Sunny Day, which is another 50% boost, it's more than enough to take down the Aerodactyl. Afterwards is the Dragonite, and I went for Rock Slide hoping for a flinch, but I instead got a critical hit that allows us to take it out. Next up is Dragonair, and I go for Rock Slide, get the flinch, and finish it with our Ice-type hidden power. Last out is another Dragonair, and I do the exact same thing again to finally get us past Lance. But now we're on to the champion, and I'm kinda worried about the Blastoise, but let's do it. Alright guys, once again, I make attempt after attempt, but it's just not happening here. His Rhydon knows Earthquake, and even if we have full HP, 99.9% of the time, it one-shots us without a crit. I think in all of my attempts, I survived the Earthquake once, and that must have been the absolute lowest damage roll it could have gotten. I really didn't want to resort to this, but we haven't used it in a few weeks, so it's time for Double Team. I replace Hidden Power with Double Team and set up on Pidgeot. Even this strategy takes several attempts as the Pidgeot knows Sand Attack, which will screw up our accuracy for the rest of his team, and it also knows Aerial Ace, which will always hit, so it's not a risk-free setup here by any means. Eventually we get a run where we can get all 6 Double Teams in place, plus a Sunny Day, and then it's off to the races. We get past the Rhydon and then onto the Blastoise. We have to get some flinch luck here as well to go with our accuracy luck, but eventually we're able to bring down the Blastoise. From there, it's not too bad. Executor is a one-shot with Fire Blast, as you'd expect. The Alakazam is rough. It hits hard with Psychic despite the 6 evasion boosts, but we take it out with a couple of Rock Slides. Finally, last out is Arcanine, and we start getting into a tug of war as Tim uses a couple of full restores and we're running low on power points. But we finally land enough Rock Slides with what we have left to bring down his Fiery Dog and end it. And that's it, folks. We've beaten Tim, and now we're in the Hall of Fame with just a Torchic. I really did try to avoid Double Team Cheese, but it just wasn't happening otherwise. I'm dubious that even if we could have gotten to level 100, that it would have been enough to survive that Earthquake, let alone the Blastoise after it. There was just too much what if there, and that's honestly why a lot of times in these runs, I just suck it up and use Double Team. Yeah, it may have been possible, but then I'd have to fight all the way back again to get here and make numerous attempts to even see if it were possible. I'd rather just use that time to Double Team Cheese and end it there, since that will be most likely the necessity of the run given our move choices. We had okay type coverage, but our stats just weren't there to back them up. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like on the video if you did, and a suggestion for what you'd like to see me do next. I haven't picked next week's run yet, though I am in the planning stages for the run I'll do for my 1000 sub special. We're almost there guys, thank you all so much. And also I haven't plugged it yet, so go ahead and join the Discord server at the link in the description. Until next time, like, comment, and subscribe, and go catch 'em all.